Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is, wherever you are, and welcome back to the Easy Readers Fish Room. I am your host, the artist formerly known as the Lost Begotten, Sean Morris, coming to you once again with some flawless, inarguable logic on exactly, well, what used to be advice on how to avoid being fucked, as a country, as a society, as a civilization, how to avoid all that collapsing. Now, we're just talking about the basic level of awareness that one should have if one knows, complicated things like major parts of history. If you're wondering, still somehow wondering what I mean by all this and how history could so easily demonstrate what great danger the United States of America is in, let me just say three words. Three words after I fix my hair. There we go. Much better. Three words. Non-aggression pact. Oh wait, yeah, it sounds like a good thing, doesn't it? But somehow not so much. No, it didn't. It didn't quite work out so well for the Germans. Oh, but Hitler was going to make peace with Russia. Oh, yeah. And he was going to take care of all those pesky poor people and immigrants and stuff too, wasn't he? Then go up. Up. Lay down here. That's your bed. Lay down. There you go. You got it. He doesn't like his Batman rug. No, don't start licking your dick, dog. Don't start licking your dick. Stop it! Anyways. So yeah, how could such a wonderful thing like a non-aggression pact with the Russians, how could that possibly go wrong? Well, I'm about to tell you. About to explain this. But first, I need to knock out some push-ups right quick. And what's that? 40? Yeah, 40. 20 at a time is starting to get pretty easy. That's cool. Ah. Ooh, I just burped and taste those burritos from earlier. Speaking of which, they made my headache a whole lot better. And I was able to take a nap in peace. Thanks to the taco sauce clearing my sinuses. But oh my God, my stomach is just all in rebellion. Somebody needs to come cast the demon of secret sauce out of this motherfucker. Anyways. So, Trump's going to make Germany great again by entering into a non-aggression pact with the Russians. I mean, America, yeah. And that could go wrong how? You see, up until the Serbian assassination of Archduke Frederick von Liechtenstein, or whatever his name was. Germany and the major European powers, for the most part, friends and allies. Kind of like, how they are today. And in fact, throughout most of history, what you'll find is that simply civilized countries, for the most part, maintain peace. They get along. They have, trade and disputes. But what you'll find is there's an actual theme to war. There's a theme to history. There's an ongoing motif issue, if you will. And that is that every now and again, somebody says to Russia, hey, let's you and me stop fighting. And I'm going to go take care of all these other issues. But if you don't know about when Spain did that, if you don't know about when Napoleon did that, oh, yeah. Don't confuse the Russians with the Prussians. Those would be the Germans. See, when you see Napoleon versus the Prussians, that's the Germans. Those are the white people that Russia annexed to make its new white people, called Latvians and Lithuanians. That used to be a happening place to be, man. That used to be a very economically advanced, very populous region. If it wasn't for the Prussians, there'd be a whole lot more French-speaking people in the world. Napoleon never would have gotten beaten by the British. Never. Napoleon even had us. Oh, interesting. Us as allies. Against who? Against the British. We didn't fucking like the British. I don't know if you heard. You see, we were one of their colonies. And in the late 1700s, on into the early 1800s, the United States and Great Britain Oh, we didn't get along so well. Oh, I just realized. Look at me, I'm back at work. I'm doing like the broadcast I'm supposed to do. Oh yeah. It didn't even occur to me. I've been asking for money a lot lately. I should do a thing. No, I just as usual, I had the sudden realization. This is a very effective analogy as to what's going on today. This very clearly illustrates, in a historical concept, in a historical context, excuse me, that America is, he is making America great again. He's making America in great danger again. That's the one thing that's getting, the danger is great. The threat is real. Because, you know, it was way back then that a certain country just starting out had entered into a non-aggression pact of sorts with Russia. That would be America. Purchasing Alaska. We got Louisiana for a pretty good deal. But about the time we went and got Alaska, things were starting to change in Europe. And we were seen as opportunistic pariahs by most of the world. But then we helped bring Russia. Come the early 1900s, we helped bring Russia to the table with Great Britain for the sake of peace and stability in the world, especially in Europe. We had our little non-aggression pact with Russia. Oh yeah. And they used us like the naive little bitches we were. And if you think that it was sort of a one-way thing where we were helping them modernize their military, you are sorely fucking mistaken. Because Russia has always had something very adeptly. They've always had something down packed. And that something is called artillery rockets, or the Katushka. And when it comes to subduing a large area, oh, accept no substitutes, man. You can just strike fear in the heart of your enemies, deep into the heart of your enemies, with a multiple launch rocket system. If you think that's a modern invention, go look at early 1800s rocketry. It's funny how the British just happen to have some multiple launch rockets that they used against us. Thanks to good old Georgie Porgy Puddin' Pops and his alliance with Russia. How did that end for him? His little non-aggression pact with Russia. Oh, it was the fall of a fucking royal house, wasn't it? Short-lived royal house. But one nonetheless. The reappointment of the stewards. But oh yeah, a non-aggression pact is fine as long as you're the only one in it. Oh, we're not the only one in it, but let's just go on that premise. Let's say we're not like King George. We're not like the Spanish. We're not like we used to be. Now, if we're the only ones within a non-aggression pact with Russia, that makes us like Germany 100 years ago. Now, what have I said from the beginning of this channel? That the Horde goes through expansionist phases every 100 years, and that we were coming due for the next one. That now is simply the time on the calendar when their fucking lines are going to move forward. And if they don't move forward, they're going to have Putin's ass. Putin knows this. A 100 years ago, it was Germany. Entered into a non-aggression pact with Russia. Wound up making the final corruption of Rome into a universalist, Unitarian type church. Because that's all Rome really is anymore. Oh yeah, you know who brought the Catholics and the Muslims together? Do you know? Well, that would be Hitler. There's something that nobody fucking noticed that seems a little significant if you ask me. Hitler was allied with what was left of the Ottomans. After Germany had been sort of the key bridge politically for a number of years. But the Catholics, by accepting Germany, basically had to accept the Muslims, and by accepting the Muslims, had to accept Germany, and they were all just, one big happy family. Norse mythos, pseudo-Christianity, and Islam. Oh, look at the big happy family. also known as the Axis powers. The Germans had lost most of their territory in the Ottoman regions. So guess who? Who was it that they promised to help destroy? Who was it that was giving refuge and giving safe harbor to all the Jews? Well, that'd be the British. Yeah, the British were occupying all the former Ottoman territories, along with the French and, oh yeah, the Russians. But everywhere the Russians weren't, Hitler planned to be. And the Russians were the only European power that already had good relations with the Muslims by default. Because, oh yeah, the Russians, the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union has always been mostly Islamic. Well, you belong to me, little puppet. So why don't you shut the fuck up? I'm gonna bend you over like Bubba and make you call me Uncle God. You must really feel threatened by the message I'm saying. You must be really accurate and relevant for you to be acting like such a sniveling little bitch. I told you Brexit wasn't gonna fucking fly. You stupid cunts. Quit your fucking trolling. One day when I'm wrong about something, I'll let you know. How about that? Until then, know your fucking place. Shut the fuck up and try to learn something. Because this is not the channel where you come and make your little opinions known and somebody confuses them with important things. This is the channel where you shut the fuck up and learn something. Because this is the only channel where you're going to find somebody like me who can actually teach you. Our country's entire educational system may have become corrupt, but my memory has not. So Hitler entered into a non-aggression pact with the Russians, and he was going to make Germany great again. Wait, who am I talking about? Oh yeah, Trump. Trump entered into a non-aggression pact with the Russians. Do I even need to explain this fucking analogy? mean, if you're not getting at this point, you're just being stubborn. Trump didn't need the Koreans and the Japanese anymore. Doesn't need France and Britain anymore. Doesn't need our Australian, New Zealand friends. Doesn't need NATO anymore. Doesn't seem to give a fuck about Ukraine. And again, everybody talking about Trump wanting to give weapons to Ukraine. And then supposedly wanting to change the platform to not giving weapons to Ukraine after I explained how stupid it would be to give weapons to Ukraine. All that means is that there are people like you, little trolls, little Russian troll that was just watching. People that report to their fucking superiors about the shit that gets discussed here. Because I have been fucking marked for my efforts against their efforts. And what I explain is that Obama was already giving weapons to Ukraine, and that the Republicans' platform was already being molded by Russians. And that Trump was just a fucking idiot, but showing his willfulness to collude with the Russians. See, he didn't understand the strategic situation. If you overtly give weapons to Ukraine, you give Russia an excuse to invade Ukraine. Well, what's funny is that Trump actually genuinely thinks he can play the Russians. He thought he could play us. Now he thinks he can play the Russians. Man just gets stupider and stupider. I mean, and I'm giving due respect to you Russians. Playing us is fucking easy. But even thinking that he could fucking play you, you know, the way that I played you, that's just plain arrogance. I mean, what kind of a moron? Would think that they could play the Russians and wind up coming out on top. See, the reason why I was allowed to play the Russians is because I was under no illusions. I knew it would destroy my life. I knew that you don't get to go on YouTube and pretend to be a fucking crazy person without suffering the consequences. I knew that you don't piss off the largest fucking army of hackers in the world without having your website crash. GetARealComputer.com is no more. Why? Jesus, that's why. I work for I am. they work for is not. Oh, he doesn't like that name, by the way. Which devil? Oh, I forget. Is the earth round or flat? Is it Peter or Paul? Is it both and is it Mary? What do you understand of the Gnostic truths to begin with? What business do you have judging my understanding of it? Is it Mary or is it Genevieve? Or Guinevere? Or Jennifer? Depending on what era you pronounce the name. Like Mary or Mariah or Miriam. Miriam. To me, the universe is always judged in the mind of a child. It takes innocence and purity to make truth a reality. So who is the mother and who is the mirror? Let me ask you this. Is the word generations masculine just because of your modern impression of what a general should be? Genevieve, Guinevere, Jennifer. The mother remains hidden. The prophet was deceived because he never claimed to be perfect. Dumbasses. All out of candidates in this lifetime. Maybe I'll find out who it is next lifetime. But it ain't Mary. Goddess of the mirrors. Goddess of death. The mother or the mirror. Had to be one of the two. But in the underworld, you are absorbed by the water of the river. You do not absorb it. Okay. Whoever you are, go look up what happens when I do this. Because it was just done for you. Anyways. Having a whole lot of fun in character at the moment. So, fuck off. In the underworld, as I remember and as I've always remembered since my first memories in this lifetime at 6 months old, in the underworld, you become conscious again after being cleansed in the river. And by cleansed in the river, I mean you dissipate into the river. You become the river. You and your whole family, you know, like, the idea that you see them across the river is sort of an illusion. They are the river. That is your family. That's the river Styx. That's your family tree. That's why it's called Styx. Mind of a child. There's a therapist watching right now. I just wanted to say hello. Glad you could join. Thanks for remembering the channel name. Oh yeah, I was plugging it left and right when I was in there. People who are advanced philosophical thinkers often get mistaken for people with psychoses. I'm just one of many. So, in my particular case, and I suppose I could be just one of many. I know I was at least one of three because I was told I had two quote-unquote older brothers in this event that I always thought was a dream until I met Kira. And then it all started to make a whole lot more sense. There were two different levels upon which it made sense, and I had to let both of them play out to see which one was true. I think now we all know. But you have basically an underworld mother. Who acts as though she's birthed you, but hasn't quite. You find yourself on the riverbank. Now, what I know is peculiar to my case is that when I first encountered this woman, I was sitting there looking at a pan flute that was halfway buried in the mud on the riverbanks. And I was told that was Peter's flute. In a tone that implied that I should not remember. But I had my instincts about me. And something about that tone made me paranoid. Yes, I remember this before I was 6 months old. You understand? That's the level of thinking that I was capable of when I was 6 months old. I told you to shut the fuck up, and I meant it. Shut the fuck up. incoherent interruptions from our Russian troll friends because they're too chicken shit to say anything intelligent. Don't worry, one day you, like all the others, will realize you owe me an apology. I'm the cure for everything that's wrong with your dumb ass. But again, just one of many. Our lovely therapist friend, and I do mean lovely, I'm sorry, another example of just, a basic level of intelligence that you should try to strive for should you desire to not be one of the reasons why humanity sucks. But anyways, so in this little dream memory, after this little onset of paranoia, I got taken up into this lighthouse where you ascended a spiral staircase sort of octagonal, meaning many-sided. Not octagonal, octagonal. Hey, fuck off. I'm talking about the underworld here. And every angle, every landing, it was like a few stairs and then like a little flat platform and then a few stairs and then a little flat platform. It was very wide, very luxurious, very lavish. Very old and stone made, but very lavish. On every landing, on the wall, on the outside, on the perimeter, there was a mirror. And in each of these mirrors, there was a painting that reflected an entire lifetime from your soul. And I hope one day, and in fact, I would dare say that this is conducive with a certain level of the ultimate technological future type thing, because I can see maybe one day us coming up with a technology that could do this holographic, metallic, liquid crystal type display that this painting made. Something to behold. I can't quite think of a fucking comparative thing to explain it. You might be picturing it perfectly in your mind right now, though. Almost like a Chinese metal leafwork type art, but in sort of a universally timeless motion. while still being still. Oh, God. Fucking phenomenal. Wish you could see it. Again, this all happened before I was 6 months old. This is the first dream I remember, basically. I didn't remember being stuck in the tree until later. This is right before I peed on my mom's kangaroo skin koala bear that plays Waltzing Matilda. Had a little wind-up thing for its belly button. Wind it up, then it would go. Prum, pum, pum, prum, prum, pum, prum, pum, 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 pum. Prum, 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 prum. It was cool, man. I inherited that for the longest time, and I think that was lost in Katrina, Hurricane Katrina. But, you know, that memory stayed with me for all those years because I had that koala for all those years. Kind of like I have the stick that I dreamt of drawing the Australian hieroglyphs with. And it's an obviously not ordinary stick. It has runes and a upper and lower pyramid symbol. Not carved into it, grown out of it. I had this in New Zealand, did not bring it with me to America. I left it in the box all the way on the left on the moonwalk in the French Quarter. Tree box. In 1998 or 99. Came back after Katrina, and it was still in the same fucking spot. And I said, you know, I better hang on to this. And you know, I waved my hand and I changed the fucking weather on camera. I wave my hand and lightning strikes right fucking behind my finger. On camera. These are just facts. That's just what happened. Whatever you're thinking right now, you're the one that's being delusional. I'm just an observer. I remain impartial. I'm aware of the possibilities, but I don't draw conclusions. That would be crazy. Opinions are like assholes, man. Everybody's got one. And I try not to be an asshole, because I've got being a sarcastic dick down to such a fine art. But anyway, this woman who was leading me up the stairs, she certainly had magnificent cunt down to a fine art. But I had this other voice in my head. The last time I heard voices was in my dreams before I was 6 months old. I had this one Tinkerbell-like voice. A kind, reassuring, very wise, very thoughtful voice. Telling me that I only had to remember one word to magically unlock the memories, and that it was okay that I couldn't remember anything, and I shouldn't even try to remember anything, because I didn't want her to remember anything, because she was telepathic and would know and could hear any of my thoughts except for this Tinkerbell-like voice in my head. And I had to remain silent of thought. I had to remain distracted in thought and have a pseudo thought screen. Again, before 6 months old. Like a little fucking weird, like a first episode to an anime saga. It's the perfect fucking analogy. This is my story. Don't copy it without my permission. It'd be like stealing Sully Sullenberger's story without the fucking naming rights. No, this is my story. It's not even just something I'm making up. And I passed the test. And I was told I would be brought up to meet with my or in that language, to be the third of three brothers. I was about to say to meet with my two older brothers, but the number used was 3 because the language phrasing was different. Lamdu Mactus Traero. Kamatari. As the world and all things are brought to an end. You will join your 3 brothers. You will join your brothers as 3. Stop making up fucking accounts to troll me in. How about that? Nobody's forcing you to watch my channel, are they? Little slave. It's not my fault your fucking masters are such dicks. But try not to show everyone how much you deserve to be damned. God might be forced to actually follow through with it. See, these are the people that want me to smoke cigarettes. You might as well fucking work for Philip Morris. Thanks for helping out with the local economy. My taxes are very much needed. A lot more than I need my lungs. I'm kidding. This isn't the first time I've told this story, you fucking twit. You're just new here. So you have no idea what you're talking about. And yeah, I know, because I've seen more impressive trolls than you. They must be really fucking lowering their job requirements. Oh. I made my therapist friend laugh. That was cute. To have somebody like her laugh at you, you'd have to be a real big douchebag, though. Certainly not a judgmental person. A little bit of a gossip. But these days, and in her generation, how could it even be fucking avoided? Anyway. You know, I don't feel the need to, like, actually respond to any of you fuckers in any serious way. Because I've already done the whole, you want to know who I am, this is who I am thing. And lightning struck exactly behind where my finger was placed. And the entire cloud cover had my face. I think that got the point across. You can think whatever you want of that happening. You can be too lazy to go see the video. You can be too lazy to go on Twitter and see the screenshots of the video, complete with the whole YouTube interface overlaid. But don't tell me I'm the one drawing conclusions about what that means, because I remain objective. You're the one who's delusional. Yeah. Okay. You're claiming to be Vladimir Putin. Because he's one of them. I don't think you should claim such things in your position. Because my two older brothers had names: the Deceiver and the Defiler. And older, I mean that they had been damned before I was. They went to hell before I did. And I must say, for entirely different reasons. But you'd have to know scripture to know about that, I suppose. I suppose. Again, I remain objective. That's fucking funny. I don't care who you are.
Gentlewoman from New York, Ms. Ocasio-Cortez, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Sloan, earlier today you said that Wells Fargo does not put profits over people, correct?
That's correct.
I am interested in the human rights abuses and environmental disasters that some say are financed by your bank, Wells Fargo. In a recent Guardian article by Crystal Tubles and Matt Remley, they stated, Wells Fargo has pursued profits without principles by investing in private prisons, for-profit immigration detention centers, loan shark-like payday lending, and holding much of the bond debt, strangling Puerto Rico's efforts to lift itself out of its financial crisis. Is it true that Wells Fargo has invested or financed in some of these industries?
We made a decision 2 years ago to exit the 2 relationships that we had with private prison firms. One has been exited, and then when the credit agreement with the other one amortizes and matures, we will no longer have that relationship.
Are those 2 companies Geo Group and CoreCivic?
Correct.
And which one has been exited, Geo Group or CoreCivic?
I can't recall exactly which one.
Okay. Madam Chair, I'd like to seek unanimous consent to submit 3 reports highlighting the bank's role in debt financing these groups, the for-profit prison companies running ICE detention facilities.
Without objection, such is the order.
Mr. Sloan, why was the bank involved in the caging of children and financing the caging of children to begin with?
I don't know how to answer that question because we weren't.
So in finance, you were involved in debt financing of CoreCivic and Geo Group, correct?
For a period of time, we were involved in financing one of the firms. We're not anymore, and the other. I'm not familiar with the specific assertion that you're making that we weren't directly involved in that.
Okay, so these companies run private detention facilities run by ICE, which is involved in caging children. But I'll move on. Mr. Sloan, Wells Fargo was also an investor, a major investor in the Dakota Access Pipeline and the Keystone XL pipelines. They were prime investors and lenders to companies building these pipelines in defiance of Standing Rock Sioux's treaty rights to protect its water and sacred lands. They warned early on, the Lakota Sioux warned early on that the pipeline was unstable and bound to leak. Despite that, it was built anyway, and it has leaked at least 5 times. And the Keystone XL in particular had one leak that leaked 210,000 gallons across South Dakota. Since Wells Fargo financed the building of this pipeline in an environmentally unstable way, why shouldn't the bank be held responsible for financing the cleanup of the disasters from these projects?
Which pipeline are you referring to?
Either. you know,
So we were not involved in the financing of the XL pipeline. We were one of the 17 or 19 banks that was involved in the financing of the Dakota Access Pipeline.
okay, so, so Wells Fargo hasn't financed any company associated with the Keystone XL pipeline?
No, I didn't say that. I said we're not involved in financing that pipeline specifically.
Okay, so let's focus on the Dakota Access Pipeline. Should Wells Fargo be held responsible for the damages incurred by climate change due to the financing of fossil fuels and these projects?
I don't know how you calculate that concept.
Say from spills, or when we have to reinvest in infrastructure, building seawalls from the erosion of infrastructure, or cleanups, wildfires, etc.
Related to that pipeline, I'm not aware that there's been any of what you described that's occurred.
How
related
about the cleanups from the leaks of the Dakota Access Pipeline?
I'm not aware of the leaks associated with the Dakota Access Pipeline that you're describing.
So hypothetically, if there was a leak from the Dakota Access Pipeline, why shouldn't Wells Fargo pay for the cleanup of it, since it paid for the construction of the pipeline itself?
Because we don't operate the pipeline. We provide financing to the company that's operating the pipeline. Our responsibility is to ensure that at the time that we make that loan, that customer, and we have a group of people in Wells Fargo, including an environmental oversight group headed by one of my colleagues who used to be at the EPA.
So one
ensure
question,
that
why did Wells Fargo finance this pipeline when it was widely seen to be environmentally unstable?
Again, the reason that we were one of the 17 or 19 banks that financed that is because our team reviewed the environmental impact, and we concluded that it was a risk that we were willing to take.
Well, was that special? Ocasio-Cortez, huh? You know, Trump says that he spotted her star power early on. Well, I'm sure. Nothing to do with her actually being part of his agenda. Just like the Young Turks. And Bernie himself. AC gauges. Where is my duct tape? Oh, that's right. Chair on the couch. The hall. If you can't duck it. What we're about to do here is fix this laundry basket. Don't try this at home. Well, you can, but yeah. You might want to just go get a new laundry basket. As for me, I enjoy a challenge. So does Misha, huh, Misha? I'm delusional for thinking I can fix a laundry basket with duct tape? Yeah, you might be right. Everybody look out, we got a psychiatrist in the audience. As if that ship hadn't fucking sailed. Thanks for providing my audience with shit to laugh about, dumbass. You were delusional to think you'd accomplish anything else. Mm-hmm. That's how that shit's done right there. Oh, turns out I wasn't so delusional after all. I can fix a laundry basket with duct tape. Try to... Oh wait, no. You can see it. Okay. Oh, I know. I'm delusional because I said I had dreams before I was 6 months old because I remember things sequentially. Sequentially. Or you think I'm delusional for thinking I could remember being 6 months old, even though I've verified the exact occurrence with my family? No, you think I'm delusional for the conclusions that you were drawing based on the facts that I was stating. I agree. It's quite delusional of you. Those are some crazy thoughts you were having, man. You ought to see a psychiatrist. But again, thanks for the material. This is fucking hilarious, as far as I'm concerned. Oh, more stuff. Misha, no ma'am. I don't mind stealing bread from the mouths of decadence. I can't eat on stone and bread. My cup's already overfilled. But it's on the table, the fire is cooking. And the farm and gable, the slaves are all working. But it's on the table, the mouths are choking. And I'm going hungry, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and reinforce this one before it breaks all the way through. Looking good though. Aw, did the troll get bored? Tired of embarrassing yourself? instead of having my clean laundry all over the couch, I can have my clean laundry in this on the couch. Oh, there's the other thing that was messing my stomach up I forgot about. Oh, peanut butter M&Ms. Oh, God, I love them. Probably why my teeth are hurting, too. Oi, 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 oi. So anyways, it's funny how, like, you know, it's very difficult for the people that I want to show up on the videos and the comments to even get notifications when I live stream. But when I title a video, How to Be Russia, I just get all kinds of trolled. Just multiple account listing service. Fucking troll. Was that a real estate pun? Yeah, I know. Or jive, jive. But yeah, it's just funny how making overt peace with Russia without actually signing anything, continuing to have an arms race with Russia, while supposedly having sort of a non-aggression pact. Doesn't typically seem to work out very well. And in fact, generally speaking, such is the objective of Russia in helping to install said person to begin with. You isolate someone, you get them to take out your enemies for you, and then you just go and decide to take half their shit. So that's what's going to happen to us. We're going to be used to consolidate Russian power until they no longer have a use for us. And then they're going to take half our shit. Namely, the former Confederate states. And then some. But anyways, If you were, you wouldn't have used a contraction. Seriously, though. If you're this fucking stupid, if you're this unaware of what I've done on this channel, the lessons I've taught, the interesting things that have backed those lessons up, you're just being intellectually dishonest and intellectually lazy. I have no reason to lament your dismissal. Anyways, for those of you who actually know things and have appreciated this video, don't forget to click the like button when you wind up eventually seeing it. Since no notifications went out to my friends, again, only the trolls got notified of this video. Not a single message from a friend the entire time. We go ahead and actually, oh look, apparently I can report people from here. And we'll watch as it does no good whatsoever. So, thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And thanks to the new people for joining. Kind of random. Anyways, I think I'm going to have to go settle my stomach with the porcelain god. Too much info.